Hello everyone, welcome back to A Kupel Books. This is Kupel. As always, today we are going to be doing the review of An Unwanted Guest by Shari Lapena, since it is so snowy outside, and I convinced my brother Reese to pick up the book.
Hey y'all.
This is going to be the first in a series of buddies and friends and family members who I'm going to bring onto the channel to either discuss books or play games. So this is going to be the first one in this series of videos that will be coming out every now and again. So we're going to get started with this book. This is going to be a spoiler-filled review. So if you've not had a chance to read this book, please leave now so you're not spoiled. Since this is a Agatha Christie...
You may now exit.
You may now exit. So this is going to be an Agatha Christie style murder. So please don't stay unless you absolutely want to know the ending or you've read it. So with that, let us get started. Reese, what are your thoughts on the book?
I thought the book was tremendous. It's actually just a super big mystery just packed into one. It's super cool.
Reese, do you mind helping me out summarizing the plot?
Alright, well, so basically there are these group of, how many? 10,
There's like
12?
10, something like that. There's like 10 or 12.
8 or 10.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 12. There's 12.
Well, okay, so it's these 12 characters.
They all want to go on vacation up, and they decide to go up to the mountains to stay at this cabin where they're all going to be together, and they end up getting snowed up in this cabin all alone. So they can't get out of the cabin.
That's right.
They're all stuck up there in the mountains, and there's no way they can drive their cars. Like, it's so bad that on their way up, our main character
it's
gets
like
stuck.
two feet of snow, or no, even more. It's like packing.
Yeah, so they're not getting out of there anytime soon. But then what happens that kicks off the whole story?
Well, the whole thing that kicks off the whole story. Two starting characters, Gwen and Riley, and so they're friends. They were driving up to the mountain house. Then they crashed. They had to like go somewhere until like AAA basically would like come and like fetch their car.
But they didn't need AAA, thank God, because who showed up? Well, I forget who showed up, but one of the couples showed up.
It was Ian and
Donna. Is that her name?
Ian and Lauren.
Ian and Lauren.
It was Ian and Lauren. So Lauren is girlfriends of Ian. They showed up. They saw the two girls. I think they're in their mid-30s or something like that.
20s, 30s, something like that. They go up to the cabin together.
Yeah, they all go up to the cabin together because it's super cold out. I can't say it.
It's also super isolating, this cabin. It's like supposed to be like no phones, nothing like that. And it's very atmospheric because of that. As you can see, we're in a snowy environment right now, and it's very snowy in this book as well. The adventure really gets started once everyone has settled into their rooms, and it's the first night has come and gone. They've all had dinner together. They've all met each other. They met Bradley and the other guy who is running this inn, and they wake up to a shriek in the middle of the night, which is when I think Lauren, right?
Yeah,
Lauren
that's right.
finds
Lauren
finds Donna at the bottom of the staircase dead.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. 100%. Lauren finds Donna at the bottom of the staircase dead, and they're not so sure if it was a murder or if it was an accidental slippage of walking.
Oh, that's right. That is right. Or but then because David Pally, I think is his name, he is the what was he, a detective? David
is like a solo bachelor, and he is accused of killing his wife.
Yeah, that's right.
But he's acquitted of such charges.
No, but the case is not closed.
The case is not closed. Case is not closed. But he's charged of killing his wife, and he is also he's just kind of there solo.
Yeah. So he's just walking around.
He knows the law and stuff.
And then when they go in, I think they meet what was it, Matthew and Donna, right?
Yeah, Matthew and Donna is one of the couples.
Yeah, and so everything's all mysterious and whatever, right?
All we know at this point is that Donna's dead. We don't know if it's murder or not. At this point in the story, did you think that there was a murderer? Obviously, because it's a murder mystery.
Without a doubt. Well, I knew what the basis of the book was. So
who did you suspect was the killer? Did you have any suspects at this point?
To be honest, until the end of the book is when I really found out who it was. The last chapter.
All right. So by this point in the story, we know that Donna's dead. She died from mysterious circumstances. She either was pushed or she might have accidentally fallen down the staircase.
But I believe it was whoever Riley heard noises coming from their room because she was.
So you knew it wasn't Riley.
What?
You knew it wasn't Riley.
Yeah, no, I really didn't think it was Riley because like she had like PTSD from whatever the military, right? Mm-hmm. She went to the military, she had PTSD, and so like she was kind of crazy at first. People were talking about like, oh, how crazy she is, but I was like, as like a writer, you don't want to make that too obvious. So you're gonna make something obvious, but then the reader wouldn't really know, would know that that's not the actual killer.
So they continue. So after Donna's body is dealt with, they continue on with their vacation since they can't go anywhere because they're snowed in. And then the next murder happens, which is the mystery writer who's staying at the lodge, also solo. Yep. And that is Candace White.
Yeah.
Candace White, who's a mystery writer. She stays by herself. No one really knows her or talks to her, but she ends up getting choked to death by her own scarf. They started to suspect that there was a murder afoot because 2 people died, but they weren't sure if it was
and
one
then they
dead
were wondering where
that.
Candace was. Mm-hmm. And then so I think it was David, Lauren, and I think Riley, because David and Riley had like David and Gwen, my bad. David and Gwen were having a thing, so it was Gwen, not Riley. And so they all went up and they were checking like where Candace. So they went up to her room and they found her just laying against the wall, like blue in the face, practically dead, and with their scarf just pulled,
So at this point in the story, did you have any suspects who the killer was? Because I had a few suspects in this case.
No, at this point I think I was suspecting, like David, no way. I was like, David cannot be this, but then for some reason I thought it was Gwen.
So at this point I was a little confused because at this point the characters in the book were hypothesizing that there was somebody who was staying at the hotel that was not a guest there because there was there's one of the beds that was not being slept in was unmade, suspecting that there was someone else who was staying there. There was a window in the basement broken, so they were there was a hypothesis that somebody was staying at the hotel and killing these people. We didn't know who they were yet.
So then a group went together. I believe it was David. Oh, maybe I'm getting this wrong. David. Okay, whatever. A group of them went together to like search the entire place, but remember, it was a complete blackout. They had no electricity. They couldn't call anybody, so that's why there was no police coming or whatever. Super dark. They had like phone lights, I believe, but everyone's was running out. So they had and so they were shining their phone lights, just going through every room. And they're like, but then they found this one room, their last room. They checked at the end of the hallway. I remember this because this was crazy. When they go in, the bed was unmade. There was like water splashed around the sink, and so they're like, someone must be staying here. But then you find out it was actually staged, which is
crazy.
Which is
but at this point in the story, we didn't know that yet. Yeah. Because then they all decide to sleep together in like the lobby so that they can keep an eye on each other. Because at this point, they're getting suspicious. They don't know for sure. So you're suspicious. And then at which point, like they start leaving. Bradley runs out of the building. He goes chasing after something.
They all run out and chase after each other, whatever the order was.
Yeah, and then they all go out in search parties to find some.
To find everybody. So it was like.
I forget who was with who, but I know that Bradley went out on his own.
I know Riley.
No, Riley went out first.
No, Riley went out first. I think Bradley followed. Correct us if we're not correct.
All right, so then they do that, but really what happens that's significant at this juncture is the fact that they find Bradley dead at this point.
Yeah, they found Bradley dead, but remember it was nuts. So I think he got like hit in the head with whatever rock, and his head was all bashed in. And then everyone like walks up, but no one knows what's going on. It's super dark. It's pitch black. You can't see anything. So, and then at that point, it's like, who could be the killer?
Did you have suspects at this point, or no?
Well, then I thought
because you knew it wasn't
at that point
everyone who's dead.
At that point, I then was suspecting Henry and Beverly, because Henry was talking about, oh, I wish I could just kill my wife, blah, blah, blah. I could grab this pick from the fireplace and just stab her with it because everyone's gone on that search party. That. So I thought maybe he would go out and kill everybody.
Because they stayed behind. When everyone went out to go searching for innocent people, they stayed behind.
They stayed behind.
After that, the cops finally show up. It's finally like
so Sorensen and Felix, I believe, or whatever. It was a bunch of them.
Sorensen was the main officer lady, and she had a few other cops with her. And then at this point, they knew there was murders. Obviously, we had 3 dead people. We had Bradley, who was dead. We had Candace, the writer, who was dead. Bradley is the son of the owner. Candace, the writer, who's dead, and we had Donna, the bride, the to-be bride, or
it was. I think it was maybe their honeymoon.
The newly wedded Donna. They were all dead at this point. We knew something. We knew there was a killer. At this point, they were pretty sure it wasn't anyone who snuck into the hotel.
But they were constantly still suspecting Matthew. But then they got to a point where they were all
Ian at this point.
Yeah, Ian, and then they were all like sitting in their little campfire circle. They all just like started like, maybe you did, maybe you did. Maybe
so at this
did,
point, did you have any suspects? Because I had suspects at this point.
Yeah, I was kind of just like reading to like see what's gonna happen. I wasn't really thinking much into like who did it. I kind of wanted to just find out, but I guess so. I knew it wasn't Riley because then after that, remember after everyone ran out and stuff, Bradley was dead. So Bradley was dead, so I knew that James didn't do it because James was never going to kill his only son, who was supposed to take over the hotel or whatever.
So we knew it wasn't Bradley.
We knew it wasn't James because they were dead.
We knew it wasn't Bradley.
We knew it wasn't Candace.
We knew it wasn't Bradley. We knew it wasn't James. We knew it wasn't Candace. We knew it wasn't
Donna.
And we knew it wasn't
Riley because she got stuck because she
fled,
which I find was completely stupid.
Riley's gone.
So Riley's gone, but I didn't understand that whole what was the point of having just like I get she has PTSD, but she ran outside and stuck in the cold
and she died.
And she died there. Like no one murdered her. So that part of the book I didn't really understand. I thought that Riley would have been murdered, but she kind of just killed herself.
At this point in the story, Riley's gone. We only have a few potential suspects. We've got Beverly, we've Henry, we've David, and we have Matthew.
Matthew, yeah.
And we've got Lauren and Ian.
Yeah, but
so 6 suspects. Yeah. So out of the 12, we have 6 suspects.
But going back to when like the police come.
Yeah, the police come, and those are our 6
Detective
suspects.
Sorensen starts interviewing everyone, and like as they're gathering evidence,
they interviewed David. They interviewed Gwen.
They interviewed David, which was the main one, I think, because he was the detective about and there's the whole thing behind his case not being closed about murdering his wife, and like all that stuff was going on.
It doesn't matter that much. Is at this point, did you have any hard suspects of the 6? Was there anyone you suspected for sure?
Beverly started getting to my mind.
Beverly onto your mind?
Yeah, I think because Beverly also just seemed like that she was so like not super into the story. So I thought once like as a writer maybe you like bring up that character because it's so shallow you wouldn't expect it. So I started thinking that.
Alright, so at this point in the story, I honestly had no clue who it was. To be honest with you, I was like kind of suspicious of a few people, but Ian was number 1 on my list, and then it was Beverly, and then it was Lauren. Those 2 I suspected at this point. But then, so the officer talks with David, and David ends up figuring out that Lauren was touching every single dead body. And that was the hint. That was the big dead giveaway that Lauren was the killer, because she was trying to get her DNA on all the bodies so that when the police did forensics on them, they would find her DNA. But anyone who was in the room when they found the body could attest to the fact that she did, which is why he stopped her from touching Bradley's body.
That's right.
And then they found the earring that verified that.
Because she killed Bradley, her earring fell out. And then she had her other one, but she hid it. Yeah. Because she like knew that it must have gone somewhere.
But at this point we knew who the killer was.
And then when one Sorensen
lets him go.
Yeah.
Then they all get up to go and leave, but then there's one final death,
which is Henry.
Henry dies
because
and we know where it is.
Yeah.
It's Beverly.
It's Beverly because
poisoned her husband.
Poisoned her husband because she gave him a drink and everything and to like calm down.
And
which is nuts. So I guess both that married couple, all they wanted to do was kill each other.
Both of the married couples wanted murderers.
Yeah,
at least one murder.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
Alright, so that is pretty much the story of it. At the end, 12 people go up to this place, and like 8 of them make it out alive.
Yeah. No. How many died?
Bradley,
Candace,
Donna,
Henry,
Riley.
7?
7 make it out.
Alright, 7 make it out. So they make it out.
Now, that's pretty much the story. This is your first murder mystery. What did you think? Did you like it?
I enjoyed it a lot. So like I'm not like a big reader or anything, so well like that, but
they don't know that.
But like I read like 200 pages in one sitting. That was pretty impressive.
It's a really fun book, right?
Thank you.
It's a really fun book. It's good.
It was very fun. I was very interested in it. I kind of just enjoyed the way she wrote and the way she brought attention to detail throughout the book, like how dark it was, and like you really.
The atmosphere is
you really got that picture in your head about like what the hotel looked like, the crash, the snow, how high it was, like what it meant to go outside. You felt the shivers, the cold.
This is a good introductory mystery novel for most people.
So I highly recommend it. I don't read a lot of books, but you know, it's up there on the list.
I'm with Reese on this one. I would also highly recommend it. I think this is a fantastic book for anyone who's looking to get into mystery, especially murder mysteries. This is one of those books that really honors the memory of Agatha Christie and what she wrote and what she accomplished in all of her books. So definitely pick up this book if you guys haven't got a chance. It is really cold and wintry where we
really
are.
Cold.
So it's a perfect atmosphere to read this type of book because you get snowed in. It's really fun to read. I highly recommend checking it out. Reese will be with us again for another book hopefully soon.
That's right.
But with that, I think that's everything for us today. So be sure to, if you guys have not yet, comment down below what you thought about the book. Did you have any suspects coming up? Are there any other questions you think that they should answer in the comment section, Reese?
No.
And don't forget to like and subscribe while you're down there in the comment section.